Honestly, Lucy, there are few things that give me more anxiety than having to call a credit card company, especially when it's about something complicated. My heart just starts pounding the moment I hear that automated voice.
Oh, tell me about it, Jane. It's like a special kind of dread, isn't it? You're trying to articulate something important, often with numbers and dates, and you feel this pressure to speak perfectly and quickly. It's a real test of your English skills, let's be real.
Exactly. And it's not just about the vocabulary, is it? It's the speed, the accents, the jargon they use. Half the time I'm not even sure if I'm getting my point across or if I'm just repeating myself in louder tones. It's a whole thing.
Totally. It reminds me of one time I had a fraudulent charge on my account. I was so flustered, trying to explain that I hadn't made a purchase at Fancy Pet Boutique in another state. The person on the other end was speaking so quickly, and I just kept saying, "Can you please repeat that?"
Oh, the can you please repeat that loop? I've been there. You feel like you're taking up their time, and you just want to get to the solution. But the pressure to understand everything immediately, especially numbers, is immense.
Right? And sometimes it feels like they're almost impatient, which just makes you more nervous. But I've actually learned a few tricks over the years that have really helped me feel more confident and, frankly, speak a bit faster and clearer in those situations.
Ooh, I'm all ears, because honestly, I dread these calls. What's your secret, Lucy? Lay it on me.
Okay, so the first thing I do, and this might sound simple, but it's a game changer, is I always prepare a few bullet points or a mini script before I call. Even if it's just in my head, I try to outline what I need to say and what I want to achieve.
That's actually smart. I usually just wing it, and then I get tongue-tied. So like writing down the account number, the date of the transaction, the specific issue.
Exactly. Not just the facts, but also key phrases, like if it's a dispute, I'll write down, "I'm calling to dispute a charge," or "I need to report a lost card." Having that opening line ready means you don't stumble right out of the gate, and it sets the tone for a more confident conversation.
I can see how that would help. It takes some of the pressure off just knowing you have those anchor phrases, because sometimes my mind just goes blank when I'm under pressure, even for simple words.
It happens to everyone, especially in a second language. Another thing I do is I practice saying those key phrases out loud a couple of times before I dial, just to get my mouth around them. It's like warming up your vocal cords for a performance.
That's a good tip, because sometimes it's the physical act of speaking quickly that trips me up. My brain knows the words, but my mouth just can't keep up. So preparation and a little bit of a warm-up.
Yep. And then, once you're on the call, here's a big one. Don't be afraid to ask them to slow down. Politely, of course. Something like, "I apologize, but could you please speak a little slower for me?" Or, "Could you mind repeating that at a slightly slower pace?" Most customer service reps are actually very understanding.
I always feel bad asking them to slow down, like I'm inconveniencing them. But you're right, it's better to ask than to completely misunderstand something important about my finances. I remember one time I agreed to something without fully grasping it, and then had to call back again. Double the agony.
Exactly. It's actually more efficient in the long run. And another related point, don't hesitate to ask for clarification on specific terms. If they say APR and you're not 100% sure what it means in that context, just ask, "Could you clarify what APR refers to in this instance?"
Oh, that's huge. The jargon. Credit card companies are notorious for their acronyms and banking terms. I always just assume I should know it, and then I get lost. So it's okay to admit you don't know a term.
Absolutely. It shows you're engaged and want to understand fully. It's about effective communication, not showing off your vocabulary. And sometimes even native speakers get tripped up by financial jargon, so don't feel bad about it at all.
That's really empowering, actually, to shift from feeling like I have to know everything to knowing it's okay to ask. I think a lot of my speaking slowly comes from pausing to process information and then feeling rushed to reply.
Right, that processing time is crucial, and it's perfectly natural. What helps me sometimes is to repeat back what I understand in my own words, like, "So just to confirm, you're saying I need to send the dispute form by next Tuesday, correct?" This does two things.
Oh, that's brilliant. What does it do?
Well, first, it confirms your understanding, so there are no misunderstandings later. And second, it gives you a moment to formulate your thoughts for your next sentence. It's like a mini break in the conversation, but it sounds proactive and engaged, not like you're struggling.
I love that. So just to confirm, that's a phrase I definitely need to add to my arsenal. It buys you a second, and it shows them you're listening intently. Very clever, Lucy.
It totally is, and it contributes to that feeling of speaking more quickly because you're actively participating and driving the conversation instead of just reacting. Another thing, and this is more about mindset, is to remember that customer service reps talk to people from all over the world with all sorts of accents and levels of English.
That's true. They must be used to it. I always imagine them just rolling their eyes at me, but that's probably just my own insecurity talking.
Exactly. They're trained to be patient and helpful. Your goal is to communicate effectively, not to sound like a native speaker with perfect fluency. Focus on clarity and getting your message across. If you make a grammar mistake, who cares? You got the job done.
That's a big mental hurdle for me. I get so caught up in trying to construct perfect sentences that I lose the flow. So, focus on the message, not the flawless delivery.
Precisely. And sometimes when I feel overwhelmed, I even try to inject a little bit of humor if the situation allows. Like, boy, these credit card statements are more complex than rocket science, aren't they? A little chuckle can diffuse tension, both for you and for them.
That's a next-level move, Lucy. I'm still working on just forming coherent sentences, but I admire that confidence. It definitely makes you sound more human and less like someone struggling.
Well, it comes with practice, you know. The more you have these types of calls, the less daunting they become. Think of each call as a practice session. And don't beat yourself up if one call doesn't go perfectly. There's always the next one.
That's such a good point. We tend to focus on the negative experiences. I remember one time, I called to change my billing address, and it was so smooth. The representative was super clear, I had my details ready, and it was done in like 2 minutes. I felt like a champion.
See? Those moments are proof that you can do it. And when you have those successes, try to remember what worked. Did you prepare well? Was the representative particularly clear? Leverage those positive experiences.
I will. So, to recap some of your fantastic tips, prepare with bullet points and key phrases, practice them out loud, don't be afraid to ask them to slow down or clarify jargon, and use phrases like, just to confirm, to repeat back what you've understood. And most importantly, focus on the message, not perfect grammar.
You got it. And also, remember that practice makes perfect. The more you immerse yourself in situations like these, the easier they'll become. Every call is a learning opportunity. It's all part of the journey to speaking English faster and more confidently in everyday life, even when it's a dreaded credit card company call.
Absolutely. I feel so much more equipped now. No more just winging it and hoping for the best. Thanks, Lucy. This has been incredibly helpful.
My pleasure, Jane. Here's to smoother, less stressful credit card calls for everyone out there. You've got this.